how's it going, everybody? Thanks for stopping by again or for the first time. I am Jared Johnson, the Jared J. We're going to talk a little more fantasy football in today's episode. I've talked about some running backs you can get in rounds 8 through 16. I've talked about some receivers you can get in rounds 8 through 16. Today, I'm going to talk about some quarterbacks that you can probably get in rounds 10 through 16 and why they can help you win your league. You can take a quarterback in the first few rounds if you just are dead set and think that you need a Josh Allen, a Lamar Jackson, a Jalen Hurts, a Patrick Mahomes, and a CJ Stroud. If you really want one of those guys badly enough, that's your choice. You're going to have to spend one of your first 4 picks in order to probably secure them. Personally, I like to wait a little bit because, as I'm going to discuss today, there's a lot of impressive talent that you can get. And every one of these guys I'm about to name, I've been seeing on the board rounds 10 and later. So the first guy I'll mention is Los Angeles Chargers quarterback Justin Herbert. Last year, he did have some injuries, but he averaged 18 fantasy points per game. He was drafted much higher last year. With all the weapons that they've lost and the unproven talent around him, he's fallen in drafts, but guess what? He's still Justin Herbert. He's still a very good quarterback. Okay, some of his numbers may be down this year, I understand, but if you can get this guy in the 10th round or later, why on earth would you not want to do that? He's still a very good quarterback. Even if you take him as your first quarterback, you're probably in good shape. Second guy is Matthew Stafford of the Los Angeles Rams. Last year, he averaged 16.2 fantasy points per game. I've seen him go undrafted in several of the leagues that I'm in. Look, I understand he's not Lamar Jackson, but he's still pretty darn good. He averaged 16 points per game last year. He still has 2 very good young receivers. He's got a very good young running back. They've got a solid overall offense. If you can get Matthew Stafford in the 16th round, why on earth would you not want to go ahead and have him on your roster, especially because you've probably already drafted another quarterback a little bit earlier? He's well worth going ahead and grabbing and not letting him go to the waiver wire where someone else can then pick him up. Next guy, Jacksonville Jaguars quarterback Trevor Lawrence. In 2023, he did average 16.4 fantasy points per game. Again, he may not be MVP of the league this year, but if you can get him around 10 or later, he's well worth having. And I'll make this point. With every one of these guys, if you want to draft another quarterback early, want to spend one of your top 3 or 4 picks, and then pair one of these guys to have another quarterback on your bench, it's well worth it. You can even wait until rounds 6 or 7, between rounds 6 and 10, and probably get Anthony Richardson, Jordan Love, Kyler Murray, Brock Purdy, and Dak Prescott. So you can grab any one of those guys and still get the guys I'm naming in this episode on this list in round 10 or later. That's a good strategy to have 2 quarterbacks of that caliber on your team. As far as Trevor Lawrence is concerned, he's still got some good weapons. Yes, Calvin Ridley's on the Titans now, but he's got Christian Kirk. They drafted Brian Thomas Jr. They did sign Gabe Davis in free agency, but don't let that scare you off because Trevor Lawrence is still actually a pretty decent quarterback. Next, I have the Miami Dolphins quarterback, Tua Tagovailoa. Last year, he did average 15.9 fantasy points per game. Yes, it tailed off near the end of the season, and that may scare some people away. I've seen this guy still on the board as late as rounds 15 and 16. Look, he's still got Tyreek Hill. He's still got Jalen Waddle. They've got Raheem Mostert and Devon Achane. That offense is loaded. There's a lot of speed. If you can get Tagovailoa in rounds 10 or later, my goodness, that is a great pickup. He's well worth having, especially if you see him on the board around 15 or 16. Go ahead and grab him up so, again, one of your league mates can't get him off the waiver wire later and you be sorry that you didn't draft the guy. Next on the list, I have Tampa Bay Buccaneers quarterback Baker Mayfield. Unlike the Butcher and the Candlestick Maker, this guy is a pretty good quarterback. Last year in 2023, he did average 16.1 fantasy points per game. Tampa Bay re-signed him. He still has Mike Evans. He still has Chris Godwin. Not much, if anything at all, about his situation has changed. I've also seen him go undrafted in some leagues. So once again, if you've already got another quarterback that you maybe are a little more confident with and you see Baker Mayfield on the board in round 16, nothing wrong with grabbing him up and having him on your bench. Because here's the thing with the quarterbacks. If your starting quarterback stays healthy and is playing at the level that he's capable of, you really only need a second quarterback to start 1 week, the week that your other guy is on his bye week. So all these guys are capable of starting. I wouldn't be scared to put any of these guys as my number one quarterback. But if you've already drafted a Lamar Jackson or a Dak Prescott and you grab one of these guys with one of your final picks, you just got another really good quarterback to have on your roster, and you only need them to start for 1 week, realistically. Next guy is Detroit Lions quarterback Jared Goff. 2023, he did average 17 points per game. I've also seen him go undrafted in some leagues. Everything I said about Baker Mayfield, you could say about Goff. If he's there in the 16th round, he is well worth drafting. He still has Amon St. Brown. He still has Sam Laporta. There's no reason not to have Jared Goff on your roster, especially if you could get him in the 16th round. Number 7 on my list of the 10 I'll be talking about is Atlanta Falcons quarterback Kirk Cousins. Last year, he played only 8 games before his season-ending injury, but in those 8 games with Minnesota, he did average 18.7 points per game. I've seen Cousins on the board in rounds 15 and 16. I've seen him go undrafted. I've drafted him 6 times already because he's available that late, and he is one of my favorite players. I understand he's going to be 36 years old when the season starts. I understand he's coming off the first real devastating injury of his career. But if you can get him in this range and he's able to play at the level he's always played at, my goodness, you've struck gold, my friends. The last 3 guys are all rookies, all unproven, but they're all in opportunities to have pretty good first years. The first one I'll talk about is a guy that's now starting for the team that Kirk Cousins vacated. That's J.J. McCarthy of the Minnesota Vikings. You may not be overly impressed with him. He did win a national championship with the Michigan Wolverines a year ago. He's a pretty darn good quarterback. And oh yeah, he's now on a team with Aaron Jones, Jordan Addison, and Justin Jefferson. I've seen McCarthy on the board going undrafted. So once again, if you can get this guy in the 16th round, knowing he's going to be throwing to Justin Jefferson, why on earth would you not want to do that? Next on the list, another rookie Chicago Bears quarterback, Caleb Williams. And if there's ever been a rookie quarterback in a better situation with more talent around him than J.J. McCarthy, it's got to be Caleb Williams. He's got DJ Moore. He's got Keenan Allen. He's got Rome Odunze. He's got DeAndre Swift. He's also got 2 pretty good pass-catching tight ends in Cole Kermit and Gerald Everett. Is Caleb Williams going to be as good as everybody says that he was? I don't know, but we're going to find out year 1 because the Bears have surrounded him with talent. I've seen him on the board as late as round 16. I've also seen him go undrafted. So once again, everything I've been saying, it's just a repetitive thing. You can get Caleb Williams in the 15th or 16th round. Why wouldn't you want to have him? In fact, I'd probably grab him around maybe round 13 just so someone else doesn't do it. And then the last guy I want to talk about, one of the guys that I'm very excited about seeing in the league this year, Washington Commanders quarterback Jaden Daniels. I've seen him on the board in the 16th round. Yes, he's a rookie. Yes, he's unproven. Sometimes rookies struggle. He's not surrounded with quite the same talent that J.J. McCarthy and Caleb Williams are. But if you know anything about Jaden Daniels, this guy had over 3,800 yards passing last year at LSU with 40 touchdown passes, over 1,100 yards rushing with 10 rushing touchdowns. He's got a strong arm. He's very fast and athletic. That rushing upside is going to lead to a lot of rushing yards and rushing touchdowns, which equate to more fantasy points. If you can get him somewhere around 12 or later, I strongly recommend you do so, and don't be surprised if you see me drafting if you leave him on the board that long. So there's my 10 quarterbacks that I think are well worth grabbing, especially in rounds 10 or later. Hope y'all enjoyed this. I hope you found it helpful. If you do like the video, please click the like button. Please subscribe to the channel if you've not already done so. It will enable me to continue to bring you this type of content along with much more types of content. It'll also alert you when new episodes are available and have been uploaded for you to view. Thank you all so much for stopping by. I am Jared Johnson, the Jared J. Hope y'all have a great week, and I hope I see you again real soon.